grow, it's quite complex. I don't think that the Māori psychology needs help. I think, from my perspective anyway, I don't know a huge amount about it, but I feel like Māori psychology is quite strong already. But this deempowerment, kind of giving some of the control over, almost needs to happen so that that can emerge, flourish, maybe is the word.
But how would you generally organize it in terms of a department?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can say this,
Yeah.
but we don't have a regular Māori staff member in this school.
Yeah.
So if we did, how would you do this deempowerment? This would be one person, at best two, within a department of 28 to 29 faculty. What would you do?
It's difficult. I kind of said that the first step would be educating other Pākehā that there was an issue there to begin with. Because I think for me, even, this is kind of the first time that I'm even thinking about this stuff, which I think is really bad, but I don't know. I think awareness would be the first step. It would be very tricky. But I think I liked this little article. I don't even think the end of it's here, but it's Ingrid
Huggins?
Yeah. Because it kind of took the issue away from how am I saying this? It's putting something back onto the majority to say that instead of helping out Māori and saying that they need a helping hand, maybe it's us that needs to take a step.
That's right. That's right. Ingrid has actually done quite a bit of work on that for years. And you're right, that is, Kiri actually suggested that as well, that in some ways that self-reflexive, self-knowledge is more useful than this obtrusively helping orientation.
Moana Jackson went into hospital and he wears a taonga that was given to him by his brother, Sid. And the nurses in hospital were trying to be so intimidating of this thing that was hanging around his neck, when really what he wanted was to know with some assurance that he was going to get the best clinical service offered to him, and he would deal with this, the thing hanging around his neck and any other cultural requirements. They were things that he would deal with. And that is really, in my mind, that is the exercise of sovereignty at the personal level. To be, the cultural artefacts, my values as a Māori woman, for me to have control over those things in terms of the way that I interact with them, the way I play them out in my life, in my professional life, in my private life. And your role as budding psychologists is to have analysed the baggage that you carry from wherever you bring it into this relationship between you and me, or Māori people and yourselves. And that is really the basis of cultural safety, the cultural safety discourse that the late Dr. Irihapu Ramsden developed. Know yourselves before you come in and tell me about myself and my reality and what I need to do to help myself. Know yourselves first and foremost, and then know about how knowing that knowledge interacts with the relationship between yourself and, if you're a clinical psycho Māori client, if you're a community psycho Māori community, if you're a cross-cultural psychologist, at the cultural level, Māori cultural group. Because I can say the same about us going into the United States. And if I didn't know my own history as an Indigenous woman, if if I didn't know my own history as a Māori woman, as a woman from Waitara and Tūhoe, and the various other identities that I carry around inside my skin, then no way would I have been able to achieve the level of empathy and support and genuine love and concern for the people, for American Indians. And it's only because I know myself that I can step into another Indigenous cultural context and see, okay, this is familiar, that's new to me, but I can kind of relate that to my experience. So we pull from our experience, from our history, from our backgrounds when we're working with people who are culturally different from ourselves.
I remember you actually raised your hand a little bit while ago. What's your name again?
Sarah.
Sarah, did you want to add something there? Because you raised before, but when maybe the moment has passed, and so if you don't want to speak, that's fine. But did you want to add something? Because I think I skipped over you last time, but no, you're cool.
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
I think, given the opportunity, I'd quite like to edit what I've written.
Don't we all?
One of the things, I think I got a bit sort of, into these 93, and so my analysis, whatever you'd like to call it, is kind of coming from the perspective of, Maori psychology is in its very teething stages, and from what I hear today, it's actually, beyond that now. So I think, and that's one of the things I've got to change about mine, because I'm all like, God! But, yeah. But,
There's a lot to be said for, God!
Yeah.
It's a great call to arms. I assigned that because I remember it so vividly. Because someone,
It was shocking.
Someone showed me this around. I arrived here in '94. I think I saw that in '96. I go, whoa, this is just dynamite. I remember the first time I read it, my ears were just burning. Like someone was yelling at me, and I was really embarrassed. Because
it's like it's all written in capital, like
That's right. I was amazed. That's why. I mean, sometimes we assign articles that way, just to give you that feeling that can you be in the moment of 1993 when this is just starting and
so long ago. And I don't know how far we've come, to be quite honest, in terms of the numbers of Māori psychs in the workforce. I see advertisements every week for various DHBs who can't attract Māori staff. I hear about students dropping out of psychology programs. It's taken me 12 years plus to finish my PhD. You do pay a price when you get involved in that political activism. And even now, 20 years on, there are certain people who don't want to bar of me because I was involved in writing one of those angry articles.
I really liked your article.
Oh, killed it. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Me too.
It makes sense, doesn't it? If you don't meet these criteria that I can, deem to be normal, then you've got to be abnormal because you sit outside of them.